Hi, everybody. Megan Thompson with Megan Thompson Coaching, and I wanted to take a couple minutes before we got started on this important topic of mine today to introduce myself to those of you who are new to the group. We've had almost 100 or maybe a little over 100 new people in the last week, so I wanted to just kind of introduce myself, familiarize you with who I am, other than the other videos that I've kind of directed to you to as I greet you in your entry here. So I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor in Maryland and Virginia, and a disclaimer, this is not therapy over the internet, at least not this way. But I also work with parents directly in my coaching business, which is what this Facebook group is attached to. So, and that's not limited to Maryland and Virginia, that's global. But the reason why I started this group is because I noticed a lot of misinformation around parenting highly sensitive kids and what parents can expect about how to parent your highly sensitive kid. And so I felt compelled to support parents in a more global scale beyond my private practice. So I started this group earlier this spring, and here we are today, closer, actually it's November now, closer to the end of the year. So without any further delay, I do want to get started. I see that somebody's here. Say hello, wave hi. Let me know that you're here. If you catch it on the replay, #replay, so I know you're paying attention, and I can answer any questions or follow up on what's going on. But what I want to talk about is a big pet peeve of mine. Paying attention to one of the things that's a huge issue that I have with a lot of professionals in this field, especially professionals who work directly with highly sensitive kids. And that's sending the message to parents that meltdowns are contingent or connected to being highly sensitive. If you're highly sensitive, then you're bound to have daily meltdowns. If you're highly sensitive, then you're bound to just endure daily meltdowns from your child, or even weekly meltdowns from your child, or a couple times a week meltdowns from your child. So there's a couple of reasons why that's not accurate. Number one is that your child is struggling with overwhelm. And that does not mean that the meltdowns are a safe expression of emotions. And so I'm going to pull this up. So meltdowns are a signal of emotional overwhelm. They are not a signal of safe and healthy emotional expression. No matter who you are, whether you're highly sensitive or not highly sensitive, that is not a safe expression of emotions. So I want to break this down and backtrack a little bit, because I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself because I get really passionate. So basically, it's like this. When you're frustrated and you're overwhelmed, think of your heart, your emotional heart, as a cup. Okay, my coffee cup here. When you're experiencing a lot of emotions and you're overwhelmed by other things in your environment, then the cup is going to overflow, and that's a meltdown. So the meltdown for your kid might be tears. It might be hitting, kicking, and screaming. It might be making really digging, difficult, mean remarks. It might be, actual aggression, coming out and hitting the sister versus just hitting, flailing. Honestly, the behavior is not the issue. So when I talk about being able to help my clients eliminate daily meltdowns in as little as 8 weeks, I'm really focusing on helping you identify that the meltdown is not the issue. The issue is the deeper problem, that your child is overwhelmed, and that's what leads to the meltdown. So if we focus on the actual meltdown, the actual behavior, then you're missing the mark. And that's a huge problem that a lot of parents miss. But then also, back to my pet peeve, that a lot of professionals will say, well, your kid's highly sensitive, so you're bound to have meltdowns. And that's actually not accurate. It just means that the professional you're working with is not skilled in helping you and guiding parents of highly sensitive kids to decrease and eliminate those daily meltdowns. The way that you go about doing that is to decrease the flooding. And so we're really going to be talking more about what it is. And because we have so many new people in the group, we're going to be talking more about what it is like to be highly sensitive and what are the factors that lead to emotional overwhelm and what are the factors that lead to a extreme emotional outburst. And when you pay attention to those, then it's simple to be able to decrease that overwhelm. It's not easy. It's very hard. And I work, the clients whom I work with take a lot of massive action in those 8 weeks to get rid of those daily meltdowns. But it is simple. There are specific things and specific steps that you can do in a sequence that will get you to that end result. But it's very important to recognize that the end result is not elimination of meltdowns. The end result is a deeper connection with your child. The end result is your child feeling understood. The end result is that your child recognizes what a healthy parent-child relationship is, because you know that what's going on now is not healthy, which is why you're like word vomiting in my group about what's not working. And so the reason why I called attention to this topic was because there was a parent in the group who, in my opinion, was shaming other parents for sharing their emotions and speaking out in desperation. Is this how I have to live? Is this the way that my child has to experience the world? Are there other ways to experience the world? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. And the answer to the other parent gave was, you really need to be focusing on not the behavior, and you need to talk nice to your kids, or something baloney like that in different words. But the message that came across was very shame-based, and that is absolutely unacceptable in this group. Because everybody is in a different place in their journey of understanding and connecting to their highly sensitive kid. So if you're not getting the message yet, the goal is to connect with your child and to improve that relationship. And that is the key to eliminating the daily meltdowns, not to punish or lead to consequences. I mean, your kid's already dealing with a ton of environmental consequences, losing friends, struggling to manage the schedule just because you can't get what you want done because you just had a 3-hour meltdown. I mean, there's lots of natural consequences that come from living this miserable life that your kid is having. So there's no need to be teaching those. You can go watch my other videos about that jazz. But what we're going to be focusing on today is really identifying this huge myth. And the big pet peeve I have is that meltdowns are not commiserate with being highly sensitive. Meltdowns are a sign of emotional overwhelm, okay? And a disconnection between parents who just don't understand how to parent a highly sensitive kid and who need more help, who need more support. So I feel like I've talked my head off about that. I've been going on for 8 minutes. We're going to move into understanding highly sensitive kids and where it is that leads to those meltdowns and what you can do to fix it. So the first piece is that your child struggles with deeper processing. Now, I'm not saying that this is a negative thing. It's that right now, because your kid's having regular meltdowns, they're struggling with the fact that they're taking in so much more information from from their environment into their brain. They're having a hard time funneling that into effective means. The next thing is, easily overstimulated. So again, your child is being flooded by this information or by the emotionality and the environment, the ineffective parenting strategies that you're using, the stress they have in the day-to-day world where they're not able to leak out that and sift out that emotional struggle all throughout the day because they either don't feel like they can talk to you about it or don't have the skills to communicate it effectively to you, or don't feel trust in being able to share it without pouring out, because that's their pattern right now. They're overflowing frequently. The next thing is easily emotionally reactive and empathetic. And so this is the key piece. Your kid feels big feelings and feels other people's feelings. So it means that while they might be quick to experience those big feelings, it does not mean that they have to be quick to melt down. I'm going to say it 600 times today, I guess. And then lastly is a sensitive to subtle. So your child is going to notice those twitches of the eyebrow or the change in pillow or the change in environment or the fact that you left at 3:30 instead of 3 o'clock. Those are the things that your kiddo is going to notice. And that's what leads to some of the meltdowns. Paying attention to those details is a strength of your child's, but in this moment, it is viewed as a challenge. And without specific parenting strategies to help identify that, this is the cycle that's going on right now, and it can be quite a tornado at home. So to combat this, you need a plan. You need to be able to specifically dial in what it is that is your child's issue, what your child is struggling with, what overwhelms your child, where your child's emotional triggers are. You could see my dog making some noise in the background. He's here with me today. And where you can help your child identify and address the fact that they are noticing those sensitivities and that they need to, or that they're noticing the sensitivities, they're noticing the subtle details, and how they can take that in and process it effectively. So another couple of things that I wanted to touch on today, because I have a bunch of people coming in, some mentioning of kids on the autism spectrum was put out. And so I really wanted to clarify that being highly sensitive does not mean that your kid is on the autism spectrum. Those are actually two very separate things. Autism is a neurological disorder of the brain that is treated in a much different way than addressing the personality type of a highly sensitive child. And having the personality type is not a neurological disorder. There's nothing broken in your kid's brain. To be frank in that respect, a disorder means that something's not working properly, and so that, to make sure that you understand the difference. So I've made a couple videos about that before, demonstrating the difference between neurological disorder and a personality trait. So if you need help finding those, I will tag you in them. Just let me know which ones you want support finding, or you can do a search in the video section of this group to resourcefully find it yourself. That would be a huge help as well for me being this one-woman show. I wanted to check and see if there's anybody who had any comments while I'm rattling off all this information now. And before we do that, I wanted to summarize. So for those of you who are just tuning in, we spoke a lot about how highly sensitive kids are, a lot of professionals are telling parents, or other parents are telling other parents, that highly sensitive kids and meltdowns go hand in hand, and that's actually just not true. The next piece is that your kid is overwhelmed, and that's why they're having the meltdowns. So while highly sensitive kids are more easily overwhelmed, it does not mean that they have to have meltdowns. They need more skills, and you need more skills to help them manage their experience of the world. We went through the whole 4 main tenets of the personality trait that nails down whether or not your kid is actually highly sensitive. That's depth of processing, easily overstimulated, emotionally reactive, empathetic, and sensitive to subtle. Those were developed and researched for over many, many years by Dr. Elaine Aron, but then also subsequently addressed in a different way by other therapists in the research field who work with highly sensitive people who then develop really significant risky behavior patterns. So there's a lot of parallel research that was done to where I've had the privy to receive training in both areas. And then lastly is recognizing that you need a specific plan. You got to walk through the DOES for your kid, identify that, and determine where it is that you're not measuring up. So if you want just specific support, direct support with that, I offer consultation calls. They're free, where we can figure out whether or not it would make a sense for us to work together. And if that's the case, then I have the website here where you can jump on that call. Because while this might seem simple as I've broken it down, like I said before, it's not easy. The devil is in the details. You're working with a kiddo, you're parenting a kiddo who fits 20% of the population. Okay, that's a smaller percentage. It's not tiny, but it definitely requires a lot of nuance. And without that, some of the strategies that I'm seeing lots of parents offering really helpful tips are likely to fall flat. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here. I'm just trying to tell you that I've seen this over and over and over again. And a big thing that I've noticed for parents is that when you work on trying to change one aspect of the behavior and try and address that, you're really missing the global problem. It's like a drop in the bucket to the bigger issue. But when you have a strategic plan to develop some significant lifestyle changes for you and your family, then you'll be able to go through life without struggling on a day-to-day basis, making it to soccer practice, making it to, to the doctor's office without a meltdown, making it through a busy, line and holiday shopping without crazy meltdowns all day long. So that's absolutely possible for you, and it's BS if other parents of highly sensitive kids are telling you that the meltdowns are name of the game. So that's one of the reasons why I needed to fit this into my schedule today, even though I didn't have it planned to go live till later this week, because I really wanted to make sure that you guys had accurate information, as a lot of you are new to this group, and it's imperative and important for me and imperative for you to know that there is a different way that you can be living your life and still experience all of the happiness and the positive strengths and amazing superpowers of your highly sensitive kid, while improving that connection without feeling like you're picking apart the behaviors of your kiddo and your child feeling like they are to blame or broken as a result. So I'll take a drink and see if there's any questions. Looks like my phone's not really being very helpful at managing any comments, so we'll see. I know a couple of you are watching, so say hi, drop an emoji. I see likes on the video, but I don't know who you are. So put it in the comments. Say hi. So my new favorite mug, Empowered Women Empower Women. Now I know this group has men in it too, and people of other genders, but I think it's pretty poignant today to drink from that cup. I didn't really specifically pick it, but I guess it's kismet that it was the one that I chose today, given what was going on in the group this morning. All right, so I'm not seeing any questions. So I am going to get back to work. I have another big training coming for you guys, so stay on the lookout for that. But if you're struggling at this point, you need to be booking a call, because it's important to pay attention to what it is that you're struggling with and notice that your relationship could be better with your kiddo before Christmas. So think about that. All right. Have a good one. Bye.